Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Hello, I own a house, and I'm not the only one out there who owns a house, and I'm also here, not inside my house for once, at the BlogWorld New Media EXPO in New York City. And I'm right here in the middle of the expo floor, and I see a lot of booths around. I mean, typical, booths that you'd find at a tech conference. And then right over here, I see a booth from Century 21. Now, I've known Century 21 to be in the house and real estate market. Has that changed?
No, we are still the world's largest residential real estate company, and we have about 120,000 real estate sales professionals around the world. We're currently in 71 countries. So no, that hasn't changed. I think what has changed is the way in which we reach consumers. And thus the reason for us being here today, as you and I talked before the show, BlogWorld and other conferences like this really are providing us with a new avenue to reach the first-time homebuyer, which is a very important segment, certainly for a company like ours. I think as an old PR guy myself, I came from a school where if you got a hold of the largest metropolitan newspaper and you had an article placed, boy, you were really flying. But things have changed with the advances of social media and certainly blogging, and the local newspaper is everywhere. You are the local newspaper now, so
you kind of got that right. I mean, it's a different type of scale. Instead of the larger distribution, it's almost a smaller distribution on a wider scale.
That's right. So, part of our effort at being at a conference like this is to, first of all, let people know of all of the social media properties that we have out there to try and build an organic audience so that they'll get involved with the brand. We'll provide as much free content information as you could ever want about real estate so that you're as knowledgeable as you can be, because obviously this is a huge financial decision for many people.
Well, it is huge. And in terms of my background, like I do own a home. I have a house in Seattle, but I had another house or home in Iowa. So I've been through the process twice. And I'm sorry, I didn't introduce you like right away, and you may have to help me with your last name, but it's
Sure.
Matt
Gentili.
So this is Matt, everybody, from Century 21. So in 1990 something, I think it was 97, 98, started looking for a house in Iowa. And this is so long ago. This is like before blogging was a word.
Right.
And I had been publishing content online, and it was talking a bit about the experience and working with an agent, although I can't remember what company he was with, sadly. There's branding for you. So even back then, with the internet starting to take off, I was able to look up listings online, and this was so long. I mean, it's hard to fathom how.
And yet it was only 10, 11, 12 years ago.
Right,
Yeah.
But there was nothing there. I mean, there were still a couple sites I was able to get into, do a searching on an MLS listing,
right, sure.
and find information, and then I was giving him results. I was saying, here's the one we want to see. Here's the one. These are the 10 ones, and then he'd have some different results, and it was just interesting. That I was doing this before the market was really ready for me to do something like that. But you ended up finding a house, although I think he's the one who pulled that listing. The second time went to get a house, this is in Seattle, completely different market, completely different year. We went with an agent that we only found out about because he had worked with a friend who was a blogger, and then he started to blog after we started telling him, blogging and podcasting and all this stuff. This is 2000... would have been 2006, 2005. So really, before, I think it was even before this expo, or certainly, right around the time that it started. So, the tools had accelerated to the point where it was easier to find the things that I knew I wanted without having to deal with the agent, to the point, you're going to love this story. Sorry, I'm going to give you all my real estate stories. This is where they come in.
I love it.
So,
that's what we live for.
I have a car, thank goodness, and even back then I had a GPS built in. So we were still this is when we were still feeling around agents, trying to find the one that would work. And we were driving around, and we were looking for the next address. And so I was like, okay, just tell me what the address is. And she pulls out a map, like a physical, like paper map.
Yeah, sure.
And she says, well, it's right here. I'm like, no, give me the address. She's like, but it's right here. I'm like, I understand. I have a map inside my car. It's right here. Just give me the address. And I could not get, it took like 5 minutes for me to get the address from her to be able to put into the GPS. And I turned to my, at that point, girlfriend, and I said, this isn't going to work. We need to find someone. Just give me the address. I can do this. So I've always trusted technology to bring me to those decisions.
When you speak of the maps, I mean, we just rolled out a mobile application across all mobile platforms so that you can instantly get all that information now right from your smartphone.
Now, does that cross over with the live MLS listing?
Yes. In fact,
Really?
Century 21 was the first real estate company to index the IDX, which is all of the real estate listings throughout basically everywhere there's an MLS, which Century 21 is, practically in every MLS throughout the country.
Yeah.
So there are approximately 3 million listings, throughout the U.S. that you may now instantly have access to, the mapping features, you can see everything, and plus now we're actually advancing into barcodes on the sign riders, so you can ride by a sign.
Oh, like a QR code.
Yeah, QR code.
Is that where you are using QR? Oh,
yes,
genius.
Yes. So you don't have to even get out of the car now. You just snap your picture
that
and
is
you have all the information
perfect.
you need. Right.
Oh my God, that is perfect.
So it's amazing how much how far we've come in just the past 5 years.
Are you encouraging then? I'm sorry, I'm just like thinking ahead. Are you encouraging your agents to? Is that the
Absolutely.
Okay. Are you encouraging them to? Well, even further, put their, if they have a Twitter handle.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Are we starting to see that show up on signage so I can actually tweet like, hey, so and so, I'm in front of.
No, we're not there yet.
Okay.
But the QR code will have a link back to all of their personal information and their social media properties as available through like a branded web page.
So how are you training these agents? Because I've done conferences before and talked about, from a publisher's perspective, how social media works, etc. Right. And I get a lot of blank stares. So how do you effectively deal with that?
Multiple ways. You have to kind of go at it from the top and the bottom. We have in-person training. Century 21's a very well-known brand for its training in the real estate space. So a lot of brokers come into Century 21 as their first job in real estate, and we hopefully turn them into the professionals that they're going to be in a career in real estate. So part of that is in-person training with 7 regional trainers throughout the U.S. And we also have online training. And what we've taken to doing now is for the social media aspect of it, or the new media aspect of it, there's a few different ways and things that we're doing. One is we produced a series of short 3-minute videos which are instructional in nature, which anyone out there could find on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Century21, where it's a how-to social media series, where you'll have Facebook 101, and it's literally a 3-minute intro which walks you through the steps of setting up your account. It's a 3-minute intro on what Twitter means for you and your business. So we found that to be particularly effective, especially with the younger generation of professionals coming into the industry, as well as we signed an agreement in March with a company called UReach Media, which does nothing but train specifically to social media. So they do they do online training where they will follow up with you. They'll follow up with you so much you can't get enough of them following up with you to make sure that you're following through on your class, and they'll give you assignments. Tweet 3 things a day, and it can't just be information about your listing. It has to be some personal information, share some value with the community. And that's what we constantly stress with our system members is, you don't want to be the guy at the party with a sandwich board saying, I sell real estate. You really want to provide value to the consumer out there. And you do that through social media. Just like being at the coffee shop in the old days, only now you're online. So share the same type of anecdotes and stories that provide value to the consumer that you would in person online.
Honestly, I know a lot of people go the do-it-yourself, like for sale by owner.
Right.
FSBO, was that right?
It's not a lot. It's actually less than, I think, 7%. But yes.
I never considered it, if only because this is not a world that I'm familiar with, and I've always learned as I've gone along, like, oh, there's something you got to watch out for if you're buying, or that's something you got to watch out for when you're selling.
Sure.
Are your agents then encouraged to share those types of tips with potential home buyers or owners?
Absolutely. And in fact, a lot of the content that we put out there through, and I'll shamelessly pitch a couple of our social media properties.
Right.
One is, the one big reason we're here is blog.century21.com. We are sharing information that provides those types of tips, what you need to get in order to make that first visit to a mortgage banker. What do you need to be prepared for before you get into the house buying process? Because it's very easy, and I'm not so old that I don't remember my first home, where you have your eyes light up when you see that house, and boy, I'm married, but goodness forbid if your significant other sees that home and loves it too, and you have no idea what it costs or what you're qualified for.
And usually the things that you love are like caviar budget,
that's right.
And you're on peanut butter.
So we do try and preach and advocate to our system members. This is the type of information that we believe you should be sharing with your consumer to get them ready for the process.
So this it sounds like your market, and you've mentioned it before. First homeowners. What do you call them exactly?
First time home buyers.
First time home buyers. That you would obviously then take anybody who wasn't just a first.
Oh yeah, the move-up buyer certainly. That's.
Is there more of a? Is it more difficult to capture someone who's already purchased a home?
No, not necessarily. Especially if you did a great job for them the first time. I mean, that's really where word of mouth comes into play, as you said.
Right.
That's where you kind of got your social sphere going, and it's all about local connections and that's the whole thing. And again, about social media, that's so great for the real estate and the realtor professional. This is a medium which costs very little,
right.
Which if you become good at it, really enables you to get your value and the reason why someone should come to you out there at a very low threshold for entry. And that's I can't encourage our system members enough to get out there and do it.
Yeah, that's it's a fair way of putting it. I can't say I've gotten in trouble for saying it, but I've long said that social media as a buzzword is nothing more than just marketing. You're marketing something, whether it's yourself and your ideas, you're marketing them, you're spreading the word, you're trying to get people to engage, or it's marketing somebody else's word. I've long said it. I get in trouble because people say, no, it's about this. And like, well, you're marketing. Like, that's the bottom line. You're sharing. You're marketing.
Well, I think 5-6 years ago, it was a completely different climate for how social media was being adapted. I think the news media probably felt it first, more so than the consumer. Yeah. But now that brands like Century 21 and Ford and some of the other big brands that are here understand that's where you need to be. That's where the people are going for information.
So are you on, Ford is on Empire Avenue. Is Century 21 on Empire Avenue yet?
Not yet, but we did just recently complete a game in-brand activation with Wii City, which played on the iPhone, where you could download a skyscraper, a Century 21 office. You can collect commissions. You can build out your city. So, we're taking some advances and trying to be on that leading edge. Our ad campaign for 2011 is Smarter, Bolder, Faster, Century 21 agents. So, we're really taking that to heart from the brand level and trying to, push that message out there.
So even with the, let's face it, kind of a downturn in terms of home ownership and values, how is Century 21 dealing with that?
Well, I think like all real estate companies or anyone involved in the industry, you refocus your efforts, you recalibrate to, try and continue to do the things that you're doing well. In our case, it's training, marketing, making sure that our agents are best prepared to deal with the environment that they find themselves in. So providing short sale training, providing REO training, and ensuring that, they understand the ins and outs of social media and how to market. Those are all the types of things that as a brand, we feel, that's where we're providing value to our system members.
You made me think of something, and this is a good thing, I think. It may take you down the path that you're going down anyway. I just did a podcast with, I think it was Kelly Mitchell, who's a realtor in Hawaii. And I've been to Hawaii a few times, but largely for conferences.
For you, yeah.
I know. It's nice. In Seattle, it's about 5 hours away. I was on, and a lot of realtors were listening, and she was asking specifically for apps and tips. And so I started making recommendations. And one of the things that they just flipped out over a few apps. And one of them, this is where I'm saying this might be a good marketing ploy. If you developed this or co-branded it as a Century 21 app, are you familiar with, on a smartphone, you can use it as a scanner?
Yes.
And and there's a couple of apps. One's called Sign It, so I could basically just snapshot like a document, sign it in a PDF,
okay.
or sign it and then send it as a PDF.
Right.
But if you developed an app that acted as a scanner, signer, etc., you'd essentially potentially eliminate the need to fax. I mean, you'd have a real signature, or at least a document to be able to pass around digitally.
And we have some offices actually out in the San Jose area, Silicon Valley, which are adopting a paperless office environment where transactions are now, like you said, reaching a point where they're finding solutions to eliminate the paperwork.
Well, and it's just, if you're on the road, if you're on the go, it's almost essentially you have to take your office with you. And part of that is like, well, I need a printer, I need a scanner. I'm like, you've got one. It's right here.
Right.
And if Century 21 developed like an app that essentially could be used by either a homeowner, a potential buyer, or specifically an agent, or beyond, you're marketing through an app.
Well, that's the thing with the we have an iconic brand. This is the 40th anniversary of our brand.
I knew who you were. So I mean that's a brand.
Being able to leverage the brand into spaces that ordinarily people don't associate right away with real estate, I think is a real opportunity.
Yeah. It sounds like.
And then just being at a conference here today, I've gotten a lot of outstanding ideas that I never would have thought of as applicable to a brand like ours.
Well, and it's good that you're thinking that direction. Like I said, I'm not going to say you stand out like a sore thumb, because you don't, but it did make me curious. Like, well, really, why?
Well, and that's the point, right?
If you're going to do something, you want to stick out. That is true. You did that correctly.
Yeah.
So if you had anything to say, I guess most of my audience are largely consumers. I mean, there's certainly people who own homes and likely will own homes at some point.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say is from today through June 30th, if you go to if you become a fan of our Facebook page, it's facebook.com/Century21, we will donate $5 to Easter Seals, which provides disability services for children and adults.
Very nice. Well, thanks again. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we feel like there's a lot of ways in which brands and even individuals are building their Facebook following up now and that sort of thing. We really feel like this is the right way to do it. So we're hopeful that your audience and others will take us up on that offer and get out there.
It's easy to do.
Right,
I mean,
exactly right.
You're giving money away
to a philanthropy that's providing services. Yes,
absolutely. Well, I'm glad you interrupted that. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you
no
very
worries.
much.
Thank you, and good luck with the show.
All right.
I'll be here. You'll be there. And then we'll be here.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.